Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of Bobble Pod. We are joined again by the amazing Fiona from FBcom. Say hello.
Hello.
And as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribers on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, hello YouTube. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Today's episode is we're going to be talking about seasonal social media marketing tips. So it's Christmas around the corner. We've just finished Halloween and everyone's preparing for Black Friday, Christmas, New Year's, Boxing Day, etc. And then straight after that, you're going to have Valentine's, Mother's Day, and Easter. And before you know it, it'll be spring again. Callum's got his hand in his head because he knows what's coming up. So we're going to be exploring a lot of elements in terms of what you should prioritize as a business and hopefully give away some tips that you can actually listen to this podcast from and go away and start implementing, especially if you kind of left it last minute. So to begin with, first question I have, Fiona, is how soon, and I already know the answer to this, but how soon should people be planning for seasonal advertising, specifically when it comes to social media?
At least a few months in advance. Like Black Friday is 2.5 weeks away. And if you've not already got those planned, scheduled, got your code sorted, it's a bit late to be scrambling around, really. We pretty much already got Christmas planned out. We like planning things either every 6 months, quarterly, maybe every 2 months for those businesses that need to be super reactive with their content. But it's getting earlier and earlier every year. Like 20% of people had started their Christmas shopping back in October. So, you've already missed the boat if you've not started teasing what you're doing on Black Friday.
Yeah, I always find it, especially with a couple of our e-commerce clients, that we're always chasing what you're doing. Like, oh yeah, we'll plan it towards the end. I was like, it's too late then. It's way too late. You need to be promoting it way in advance and maximizing the profile. Specifically in the economic crisis we're in right now, people are trying to be, specifically some audiences are being, and I'd say that's in the millions, are trying to be like savvy with their shopping, looking for deals. So people will not buy at random times leading up to Christmas this year. I feel like the trend will be around key sales. So after Christmas and Boxing Day or after New Year's, or predominantly Cyber Monday and Black Friday. So if you're a business, what should you prioritize?
Well, you should have already got your Black Friday campaign sorted. So you should be prioritizing data capture. So before you even started doing your Black Friday campaigns, you should have started looking at your historical data. Who are the people that are your best and most loyal customers? Can you create lookalike audiences from them? What are they actually buying? When are they buying? Where are they buying? Rather than just plugging your budget across everything, you need to be really, really smart. Facebook ads, it skyrockets in costs per click. We're all bidding against each other in a war for the customer's attention, and they're being a bit stingy with their clicks and where they're buying anyway. So you need to be really, really smart with exactly how you're using data, and you're not just running Black Friday sales for the sake of it. Do you actually need to? Are people just literally buying from you at a discount? You're not making any profit and they're not coming back the rest of the year. Like what happened last year? Are people that are really loyal to you, are they just buying stuff that they would have bought anyway? Are you bringing forward sales from the start of next year? Or are people, they were going to buy that jumper anyway, but then they saw it in Black Friday and you've essentially lost money on it? So do you really, really need to be running those sales? How did they go last year? And who are the people that you need to be targeting? And then collecting all of this data for when you're running them even more effectively next year. Every single time you run ads, every single time you run a campaign, it should get more and more and more effective because you're constantly learning.
Yeah. That's very like B2C audience focus, as we would say. I always feel like seasonal's more difficult for B2B because it's almost like all year round. It's like you're trying to not sell, but even educate a solution to a problem they have or how you're going to benefit their business. So what can B2B customers do at this time of year?
We're talking about New Year's goals, New Year's resolutions. Businesses are sitting down at the minute. Our team have got a planning session next week. we want to be part of businesses' goals, don't we? We want to help them achieve their goals. So start sharing exactly how. Like, no one wants a marketing agency. They want more sales. No one wants a piece of tech. They want to make more money. No one wants, an HR platform. They want happier employees. So sell, this is what Laura always says, sell the sizzle, not the sausage.
No, it's true. Yeah. Because people want to know how you're going to save them money, how you're going to increase productivity. That's what you're selling when it comes to B2B. It's like, how are you going to help them improve their efficiencies? How are you going to help them achieve their growth objectives, their revenue targets? Essentially, that's what you're selling. And it has to be articulated in a different way, and it can't be articulated, oh, it's Black Friday or it's Christmas. It's more like, did you achieve what you want to achieve this year with your marketing objectives? If not, why? Are you maximizing your output? Are you maximizing your spend levels? Are you being robust? Are you avoiding bot clicks, as we discussed in the last episode, in terms of the impact that's having on your budget? In our last episode, we talked a little bit about, when we talked about the social media landscape, we talked about the impact of the recession, and we had that brief mention, and obviously Facebook's advertising revenue dropped by 20%, and that had a big impact on their share price. Do you see businesses in particular coming up in the season that's approaching right now, probably cutting back on seasonal advertising spend?
Some of them, yes, but some of them, we can't afford to switch it off in the cost of living crisis. Like I said in the last one, you can't switch off your sales pipeline, even if you're spending a bit more on marketing. If you switch that off, you're not getting any sales. So some of them, we need to keep it going because that's where their income's coming from, even if those profit margins are being squeezed. So a couple, we have switched things off. They need to cut costs wherever, and that's their business decision. But it doesn't make sense to completely switch off your marketing if that's what's driving revenue.
And what concerns do you have for those businesses in this period? Do you see them continuing to struggle into 2023 because they're not going to maximize the current season that we're approaching? I'm
more concerned for the businesses that aren't using their data and are running ads that are ineffective. They might be getting a few sales from them, but they can really, really be streamlined, and they're not making any money off it. They're just losing because it's going to be so much more expensive in this end of the year.
Yeah, because social media is more than just organic. It's paid and organic. And I always say performance is only driven by brand. So you can maximize performance as a company, which is really, deep diving into the analytics, the data, getting that cost per click to a low level, increasing the click-through rates, and focusing on cost per acquisition or cost per lead, whatever that metric is. You will get to a point where you plateau. And the reason you plateau is because you maximize performance, and it's almost like it gets burnt out. But you've got to feed it top of the funnel with organic and branding and pushing out some ad spend towards actually telling people who you are and what you do. We just talked about it from a B2B perspective. It's not about, selling yourself as an agency. It's selling the solution you offer, how you're going to help them drive more sales. Now, people aren't going to hear about us if we don't get ourselves out there. Bobble Pod, I've said this a number of times to our users and listeners, this is our top of the funnel stuff. Our focus is, as an agency, is to educate. It's the forefront of what we do. So, and we make sure that process is followed all the way through the agency, how we deal with clients. And this is just one of the multiple elements in which we educate people. And that's by bringing on, experts such as yourself. People, have a great experience within like social media. We have other guests lined up for next year. It's all about providing value to someone who's listening, that they might think, well, actually they're right. I shouldn't really turn off my ads. And hopefully someone can walk away with some tips, which obviously we'll get into shortly. I think from my perspective, the element I want to focus on is, what tips would you give around the current current seasonal activity that businesses should focus on, specifically when it comes to paid ads?
I mean, it is just being really, really savvy with your budget at the minute. So going in and monitoring those daily. I've seen you, I know you use it on their website, Pacer as well, to track budgets.
Yeah.
And also just being constantly going in, tweaking those, redivesting budgets, not just leaving it on campaign budget optimization, being like, right, I'm off for brew for the next week until I need to change the creative over. You want to be constantly running multiple ad sets, multiple ads, tweaking those, constantly learning from it, getting as much data in there as you can. And especially in this season, not running ads to a really obvious audience. If everyone's running ads to the people in the like high income areas, like everyone in Surrey that wants a luxury watch, like Rolex is going to outbid you by a ton. Like the companies with bigger budgets are just going to absolutely ruin your ad spend. So you want to start being really, really savvy with your targeting. So we've got a life coach and we're running ads. Actually, the best audience is people who've just come back off holiday between 1 and 2 weeks, because you're on holiday and you have all this time to think. You get back and you're like, wow, my life sucks. Bam, we place our client front and center, like, I can help you make that change that you seek in your day to day. So it's thinking of those extra bits of targeting that you can get from your Google Analytics or my market research papers, or just give it a go.
No, you're right. That's a perfect example. Like, being smart, knowing who your audience is, knowing the right time to actually get your message in front of them. One of the advices I would give to anyone listening is like, all right, I agree with you. I mean, you should know who your audience is right now. If you're B2C and you're focused on e-commerce, you should know who your audience is. And you shouldn't go broad and try and target everyone. You should understand the different metrics and use platforms like Google Analytics, use the in-platform data analytics from, Meta or LinkedIn or whatever it is, TikTok, what platform you're choosing. Know who you're targeting and focus on them. And also don't neglect your existing customers. You're right with what you said earlier is like, what's the purpose of doing Black Friday? Is it just to get stock cheaper out, which, it's customer long-term customer retention. You want customers to stay loyal to you. And in a recession specifically, it's your loyal customers that will come back and buy. And you don't want them to go to someone else who's providing better value, better customer service, better rewards to them for staying loyal to them. It's a hard balance, but that's where you need the guidance and advice from people that say, right, here's what's working, here's what's not working, that constant monitoring. So I totally agree with that one. I think focus on who your existing customers are and don't neglect your existing customers, because they're the ones that are going to bankroll you, really. So don't neglect them no matter what platform that is. If listeners were going to walk away with 3 tips from this podcast that you would recommend for them to go away and implement now as quick, easy strategies, what would they be and why? Look
at your data. Find out exactly who your best customers are and what the heck are they actually buying. Is that the thing that you're pushing the most? Monitor your ads carefully, learn from them every time, and target audiences that aren't the most obvious thing you can think of, because every other marketer's thought of it too.
I think for me, it'd be more like, focus on your audience. Make sure you push out brand and performance, because in order to do stuff like lookalike targeting, retargeting, or even website lookalike retargeting metrics on like Meta, you need to be driving traffic to your website in the first instance. Think of the funnel. Not everybody's going to convert at the first step. They go to your website, they might see something. What are you going to encourage them to come back with? And not necessarily it's an offer. It's, appeal to them. People, we talked about this in the last podcast, people buy into people, but people also buy into business values. What are you doing to attain to their personal values? Like how green is this product, for example? How sustainable are you? What are you doing to offset your carbon footprint, etc.? People will still spend money with good brands. It's making sure that you appeal to not just their immediate need, but their long-term need as a brand. Create brand ambassadors, I always say, with your customers and give them a reason to engage and connect with you. So focus on your audience, focus on your optimization, but more importantly, have a content strategy in place and plan ahead. I agree. You should be starting your Christmas planning at the latest September. You should be already thinking about it in August. And in August is generally quiet time. I don't know how you feel in terms of for agencies. There's always that transition where everything's in place for summer and it's been implemented. And then before you know it, it's August and then it's Halloween and bonfire night. And now we're planning for Black Friday. And it literally comes like sometimes it comes like buses. You don't see them for ages, but they come one after the other. And that is what this seasonal activity are. It's like for a long time, you're not going to see a bus, but now they're all going to come, and you've got to make sure that you're appealing to the right audience. So I always say plan ahead with your content, because then at least then you know what's coming up. So have a content calendar in place. If we can, we'll try and get some tips or some links to some content calendars to share with you, which will be on our YouTube link. So if you have any ideas with that, Fiona, do let us know. The final thing is, and this is more on a personal level, what is the best example of like a seasonal paid social campaign you've seen either recently or in the past?
I mean, most of my ads are just the things that I Google for clients that I've seen, to be honest.
Yeah, I've put you on the spot there.
Yeah.
Well, let me change it. Let me change that. Okay, what's your favorite Christmas ad campaign or marketing campaign you've seen in general? Doesn't have to be on social media.
I really hate Guinness, but I really think the adverts are wholesome.
Is it AMV is that's the agency, I think? Is it I can't remember what the agency name is, but they have the Diageo account, and Guinness is part of Diageo. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I've always loved the Guinness adverts, but I think my favorite Christmas advert or seasonal advert, well, it's between two. It's Aldi taking the out of John Lewis. So the minute John Lewis come out with an advert, then Aldi do their own version of it. I think that's hilarious, especially when they did the one on the moon.
Yeah.
I thought that was the best one. And I mean, how can you not love it's not Christmas until you see the Coca-Cola advert. To me, it's like, actually, not until I see that advert can I get in the Christmas mood. I don't even start buying Christmas presents until I see the advert, even if it's like Christmas. Not until I see the advert. I can't get in the Christmas mood.
A mince pie will not cross your lips until that advert's
there's
crossed
going
the
to be
screen.
no Christmas festives until I see the holidays are coming advert from Coca-Cola.
I'll sing it to you afterwards.
Oh, thanks.
It's all right.
Do you ever take part in the competition? Well, the Wham competition for Last Christmas. Like, if you hear it in a supermarket, that's it, you're out. The idea is to get through Christmas without hearing Wham singing Last Christmas.
I've heard them playing it on the radio, but just forget to partake. You know, a bit like when people say, you've just lost the game.
Yeah, I think we might do that for jokes this year as an agency and see who lasts the most. But I don't really listen to the radio, so I know it's going to happen in a supermarket somewhere. And I'm going to be like, oh, God, damn you, Wham. But yeah, just a little bit of fun there. So is there any final elements you want to share or cover to our audience?
I think as long as you know why you're running Black Friday campaigns and you're going to maximise the amount of learnings that you can take from it, and don't be stupid with cutting off all your spending if it is something bringing you revenue, and only really push stuff out there as ads that you genuinely find useful. We'll only share content that people can take value from to the people that are actually going to benefit from the product.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I could not put that any better. So again, Fiona, thank you for joining us on Bobble Pod. I appreciate all the time you're giving us. If you haven't followed Fiona already, do check her out on LinkedIn. Do follow the company posts. I do. I get a lot of entertainment and good content from it. So check out her agency. A little bit of a plug there for you. And to our listeners, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. If you have any specific questions about seasonal advertising and you want to come up to us again, use our hashtag AskBobble, hashtag Mr. Bobble, and hashtag BobblePod, or just reach out to us or comment on our YouTube video or give us feedback through our website, which is www.bobblepod.co.uk. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode shortly.